the scale changes, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But it's really how you feel about yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's, to be honest, those are the things that when I'm told that's why I do what I do.
Yeah.
Right.
I love that. That's what encourages me to keep going.
Yeah.
Right.
Another thing that I was thinking that I gained was knowing that I can do hard things.
Yeah.
There were a lot of times that I didn't want to get to the gym, and I made myself, and then I ended up lifting heavy, and I'm like, I don't know if I can do that. Then you're like, you can do it, and it helped me realize that I can do hard things and I can push through. So
I think the biggest lesson from that you gain from that is accountability.
right.
And just having someone to be accountable to, like your personal trainer or whatever.
Sure.
Whoever you're wanting to do that for, it could be your kids or anything, but it's awesome to have an accountability partner.
It really is. I agree with that.
For sure. Well, I'm glad you started coaching because I needed more coaches there.
Right.
We have 2 coaches. Well, 3, myself as well. I guess I should call myself that. But what the thing that I like about it, and what I've heard from a lot of the clients too, in the gym, is they like the difference in personality that you and Lindsay have.
Right.
Because you're more of the like do it now kind of like,
Discipline.
kind of attitude, right?
Right.
And Lindsay's a little bit quieter, but she's very strict on form. She really is. She is. Calls people out on it and
She does an
and all that
excellent
kind of
job.
stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
So there's a good difference, and that's why a lot of the clients are like, I like coming to maybe a different time class and getting a different coach.
Right.
Yeah.
And doing that. Although one time when one of my good buddies, Godfrey, was like, he's all, I like how Sydney coaches. You need to be more like that. I'm like,
Yeah, Godfrey, good job.
tell me that. Like, it's just because you get in his
Right.
face more.
Yeah.
I'm not like
And-
up in his face, but I'm like,
Yeah, he thrives on that, right? And it's good to find somebody who's like that.
right.
I'm only like that. I'm like that with you for
With
sure.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like that with certain people.
Right.
But I can tell if it's overbearing
Yeah.
to others.
For certain
But for some
people.
reason, like
Sure.
Godfrey never talks to like anybody. So he like, I had no clue
Yeah,
that
you
he
didn't
liked
know.
that kind of training. So
Yeah.
then now, after that, now I yell at him. I put, and he likes it.
You're like, Sydney said it was fine.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's just,
yeah.
it's great.
Right.
It's good to have that good dynamic.
Yep.
So I'm just curious, what goes into becoming a personal trainer? Like, what schooling do you have to do, or?
So I went to NASM.
Okay.
And it's all online, so you do it at your own pace. I finished in about, what was it? I started in, I think, January and finished in May. So it took me about 5 months. I was working on it every day pretty much.
And we talked a lot.
We talked a lot. I'm sure John saw me
yeah.
come in and he's like, oh no, here it comes.
But some of the ideas that it's easier to conceptualize when you actually can get a full demonstration of
Right.
things. Learning stuff just from book and video and
Right.
things like that, it's just you have so many questions.
Exactly.
You almost need another coach to be like, this is what they're talking about.
Right. And that's what I did with John.
Yeah.
I said, hey, I read about this, but I don't understand what that is. Can you show me, or can you tell me,
Yeah.
or explain
Yeah.
to me in a way that makes sense to me? Because I'm more of a hands-on visual learner versus just reading something and it's sticking. And so John was excellent to help me
Yeah.
put things, like visualize things
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
me. So a lot of times I came
I'm
in
a
there.
way better visual learner also.
Right,
And
exactly.
So did they have like videos on?
They did.
Okay.
So I would read a book, and then there were videos online. I actually read through the book. I could have done it all online, but I bought the book
Yeah.
and I highlighted the things that either didn't make sense to me or things that I thought that I needed to remember. And then I would go online and I'd watch all the videos that explained certain concepts or certain
Right.
exercises or movements or things like that. And then I would take a quiz after every chapter and review everything that I had gone over. And so it was kind of both. It was a book and online videos and reading. But even in the videos, it's still not the same as talking to someone who's done this for years and years and that can show me.
Like John said, you just have questions and they can't answer them that way.
Yes, exactly.
Well, and the thing that's I mean, any certification that you're going to get, that's still a basis. It's the experience of actually coaching, right? That gives you the experience, but that basically helps you solidify what you've learned.
Yeah.
Plus, my philosophy that I have at my gym is a little bit different than what people learn in those books. I've developed kind of my own philosophy over the course of, I don't even know how many certifications I have, but lots of different ones and schooling and everything that I've put together to find what is best for my clients.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And to find what's best for just helping humans be more efficient and better, not just physically, but mentally and spiritually.
Yeah.
So then they change them, right? Like
because
the
you have to
change that
change.
you
You
had.
have to change your mentality as much as you have to change physically.
Yeah.
It matters. It's just as important.
And I'm sure like 90, well, I don't want to put a percent, but I'm sure most people just go to a Anytime Fitness or whatever, and they like don't have the opportunity to train with a lot of people or a lot of people be at the gym. And that really affects like my intensity and like how I work out.
Yep.
Like I sometimes would go to the local gym and not like even break a sweat.
Right.
But I was there for an hour. But every time I go to John's gym and like I break, like I'll be sweating in warm-ups.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I think most people, they get through the warm up and it is a lot of mobility, a lot of like warming up all of the muscles that we're going to use that day. And a lot of people are like, that's just the warm up. Cause I remember thinking that when I went there, but it matters and it's so important.
It does. And then your body adapts to it.
It does.
To that
really
stimulus.
Does.
And then all of a sudden you're like, it's just the warm up.
Yeah. It's just the warm up.
Right.
I actually enjoy it.
Yeah. You're like, well, you contemplate what you're going to have to do.
Right. Yeah.
And what do you think? Sometimes you show up and you're like, you look at the board and you think what? And then other times you think something totally different. Tell me what that's like.
So I go in and I will look at the board and see what is on the board for the day. There's always movement patterns that we do, pushing, pulling, rotation, things like that. And then I'll look at the strength. We always have a strength exercise. And there's sometimes that I'm like, oh no.
I don't want to do the
I'm like,
Bulgarian
that's a lot.
split
Yeah,
squats.
Bulgarians every single time. I'm like, no. And which I actually like Bulgarians when I'm done. But yeah, there's just sometimes that I'm like, oh no, this is going to be rough. There's other times that I look at the board and I'm like, oh, today won't be so bad. And then those are usually the worst days. That like the short but intense ones.
Yeah. How does that help you as a coach? So when you look at it and you're like, okay, I don't want to do these. I don't want to do lateral lunges.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to do, you know what I mean? Because you know how you're going to feel. So how does that help you coach, a class knowing that other people may be feeling the same way? They're like, I'm not going to be able to walk tomorrow.
They might have your struggles too.
Right.
Yeah.
You as a coach, what's your process or how do you go through that when coaching someone who's like, I don't want to do this?
So I've learned that when somebody can kind of commiserate with me, it helps me know that it does suck, but it will be over soon. So
You
what
relate
I try
with
to,
them first.
Yes,
You're
I
like,
relate with them.
Hey, that really does suck. These suck.
Yeah,
But
I say that's exactly what I say. Say, okay, it's Bulgarian split squats today, guys. These really suck, but they'll be over soon.
Yeah.
You can do this. You're strong. I just try to be positive and motivate through things that are hard because that's where you grow.
It is
when things are hard, and so I try to connect with these really suck. They're not fun, but you can do it. You've done them before. It's going to make you stronger. And I just try to put a positive spin on something that's hard.
So if some random person comes in for the first time, what are you trying to find out about them, or what questions are you asking them to find out more what they need and stuff like that?
A lot of times I'll ask how they know John or how they got hooked up with John and why they wanted to come to the gym. I try to find out, I ask questions that will find out a little bit of their past, where they kind of come from. And then I always make sure to ask on certain exercises, especially strength, hey, do you have any, are there
shoulder
anything
issues,
that,
you have
that
knee
hurt
issues, you have
that we can work through? And if there is, there's always a modification. There's always a different exercise that can work the same muscles, but not overdo it.
Right.
So I just try to ask questions that will fill me in on things like that.
Yeah. And I'm sure like when someone first comes in, like they really appreciate you getting to know them, because like I said, with the like other gyms where you just go by yourself, you don't have that.
No.
And that's what most gyms are missing.
Right.
Like you can go to the gym, sure, but are you really going to get the most out of what you can do that day?
Exactly. Yep. And John's really good. And I've learned this from John is just asking people, like what are you wanting? What are your goals through all of this? And that way, and you can kind of create a plan specific to that person and help them reach those goals.
Yeah.
And John's great about that.
Yeah.
The more you remember about, I mean, we have a lot of people coming through there now, but the more you remember about the person, the better, because then when you're doing a specific exercise, you can remind them.
Right.
Like, let's say it is Bulgarian split squats or some type of like 21-15-9 of thrusters and burpees or something.
That is the worst one, you guys.
That sucks.
It does
Okay,
suck.
so something like that, and certain things about people. You can literally talk to them about the different things that they've told you before,
Yeah.
to help them through this hard moment.
Right.
That, guess what? This moment's going to pass. You are going to get through this. You will be sore. I'm not going to lie to you and say, hey, it's all going to be good tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's going to suck tomorrow too.
Yeah, it is.
But why are you here? You told me this.
Yeah.
You told me this
Yep.
is why you come here, and this is why I'm having you do this. This is why I'm having you push through
Right.
this, because you said you wanted to be a better mom.
Right.
And I know from other people that I've coached, and you yourself, Sydney, I know that this will help you become a better mom, because
Yeah.
you're going to be more
Exactly.
confident in yourself.
Yes, I
by
agree.
getting through this.
That
agree.
reminds me of a doctor my sister used to work for. I wouldn't have known this, but my sister worked for him. But anyway, so he would write down in his book like things that he had talked to the patient before
Okay.
about.
Oh, yeah, that's
like
great.
do you have any kids or whatever. He would always ask me if I was still coaching baseball. And so like that's like, it sounds like you just have to remember it that
You do.
but
It becomes more personal. The experience
Yeah.
becomes more personal.
just just having someone to relate with, and
Especially if you know like one of their kids' names
Yeah.
Yeah.
or something like that. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or a spouse. Like they come in and you're like, hey, how's Holly doing?
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That really helps
Yep.
them. They're like, oh, yeah.
They're like, they actually care about remembering things.
Yeah.
There's been times that I've had a client talk about a book club before, and they've come in and I've said, hey, how's your book club going? And she actually said to me, she's like, you remember talking about that? And I'm like, well, yeah, of course, we're friends. I see you all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or vacations and things like that. Just, I love to relate to
Upcoming
people.
stuff,
Yeah,
yeah.
I love to relate to people. I
That's
love,
what makes a good coach.
yeah, and I love to let them know that there's somebody that cares about what's going
Yeah.
on in their life, and I love that. That's probably my favorite part of the job,
Yeah.
honestly, is connecting with people.
yeah,
That's great.
it's just a rewarding thing to do.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
So can we backtrack like really far?
Oh no.
Let's give you just like, so where did you grow up?
Yeah.
Where
Didn't
did you
even
grow
talk to
up?
her about
You know, up through high school. You did mention you played sports.
I did.
Okay. So before that,